Get the fuck out of my house.
He didn't whisper it. He didn't laugh after. He meant every single syllable.
Long time. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So I'm gonna start.
Shut.
Oh, that's bad.
You suggested that it would be funny
Yes.
if I destroyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I will make it clear. And first of all, this is why you've never.
And you were right.
It was funny.
Yeah.
A $5,000 collectible, 60 man-hours of work, destroyed in 2 seconds. And the man responsible, completely unbothered.
I don't need all that. I'm a very rich man.
One sentence, delivered completely deadpan. The audience lost their minds. There is not a single human being on this planet who operates the way Harrison Ford operates. Not one. While every other celebrity in Hollywood is carefully managing their image, rehearsing sound bites, and smiling through interviews they clearly hate, Harrison Ford is sitting there deciding whether your question is even worth answering. And half the time, he decides it isn't. What you're about to watch isn't just a collection of funny moments. It's a masterclass in what happens when a man becomes so legendary, so untouchably iconic, that he stops performing entirely and just exists in whatever room he happens to be standing in. No filter, no PR strategy, no fake laugh. This is Harrison Ford, the last completely honest man in Hollywood. Let's set the scene. Hollywood runs on performance. Every single person who sits down in front of a camera, whether it's a red carpet interview, a late night appearance, a press junket, they've rehearsed. They've talked to their publicist. They've got 3 approved topics and 3 things they absolutely cannot say. And then there's Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford walks into a room and immediately starts doing the one thing Hollywood is specifically designed to prevent: being completely, brutally, unapologetically himself. It starts the moment a microphone gets near him. Most celebrities treat a podcast like a promotional opportunity. Harrison Ford treats it like a conversation he's not sure he agreed to have.
Can you say on a podcast?
You can say anything you want.
You like.
Anything you like.
Oh, fuck you.
Anything you want, anything you like. He said that with the energy of a man who has spent 50 years watching everyone around him say exactly nothing and finally decided the game was stupid. Because here's the thing about Harrison Ford that separates him from every other celebrity of his generation, or any generation. The more famous he got, the less he pretended to care. Most people go the other direction. The bigger the career, the more careful the image. The more crafted every sentence becomes. Not Harrison. Harrison got more famous and less filtered in direct proportion. Like the fame burned away whatever small amount of social performance he was doing in the first place. And what was left underneath was pure, uncut Harrison Ford. Mark Hamill, a man who worked alongside him for decades, who knows him better than almost anyone in the industry, once launched into an impression of Harrison that absolutely nailed exactly this quality.
We were doing the scene where it was right after we got out of the trash compactor. We hadn't filmed that scene yet. And I'm looking in continuity and I said, shouldn't my hair be all wet and matted with schmutz all through it? And he turns to me and says, hey, kid, it ain't that kind of movie.
Hey kid, it ain't that kind of movie. If people are looking at your hair, we're all in big trouble. That's not just a funny line. That's a man who, in the middle of filming one of the most important movies ever made, refused to take it more seriously than it deserved. He was already grounded in reality, while everyone else was starstruck by the situation they were in. The impression is perfect because it captures the exact tone. Not mean, not dismissive, just completely, efficiently honest. No performance, just the truth, delivered in the fewest possible words. And that's the thing about Harrison Ford. The man is efficient with his honesty. He doesn't lecture you. He doesn't build up to a point. He says the thing, and then he waits for you to catch up.
Become rich and famous.
Someone asked him, completely sincerely, what his master plan was after Star Wars. The question was about legacy, about creative vision, about where a legend goes after changing cinema forever. Become rich and famous. 2 words. 1 sentence. Delivered with the warmth of a man reading a grocery list. And the thing is, he wasn't being sarcastic to be edgy. He was being sarcastic because the question was, in his estimation, ridiculous. And he respected you enough to tell you that. That's the key to understanding Harrison Ford. The filter isn't broken. He didn't forget how to perform. He made a conscious decision, somewhere along the line, that performing was a waste of everyone's time, and he chose honesty instead. Here is something that almost no celebrity at Harrison Ford's level ever does. He makes fun of his own movies, not in the humble brag way where they pretend the blockbuster was secretly stressful, not in the self-deprecating way that's actually still promotional. I mean, he genuinely, authentically does not hold his own legendary work in the reverence that everyone else does, and it is magnificent. Think about what Harrison Ford has made: Indiana Jones, Han Solo, Rick Deckard in Blade Runner, Jack Ryan, President James Marshall. These are not just movies, these are cultural monuments. These are characters that have lived in people's imaginations for decades. People have named their children after these characters. People have built their entire personalities around these films. And Harrison Ford's attitude toward all of it?
The original Blade Runner, Han Solo, Indiana Jones, I mean, the list just goes on. It's quite intimidating.
Yeah.
But it is.
Boring.
But it is boring. 2 words. The audience laughs, but they're also slightly shocked because that is not how you're supposed to talk about Han Solo. That is not how you're supposed to talk about Indiana Jones. There are unwritten rules in Hollywood about treating your iconic work with a certain level of reverence, and Harrison Ford just looked at those rules and walked past them without breaking stride. But the absolute pinnacle, the moment that perfectly captures Harrison Ford's relationship with his own career, is when he was asked about the Blade Runner sequel.
When you got that call to say, listen, we're making another Blade Runner and we want you to be in it, what was your reaction?
I said,
How much?
show me the money.
I said, how much? The audience erupt, because that is the most honest answer anyone has ever given to that question. Every other actor in that situation would tell you about how the script moved them, how they felt the story wasn't finished, how they'd always hoped to revisit the character. Harrison Ford told you his first thought was his bank account, and by doing that, he was more honest about how the entertainment industry actually works than most actors will admit in their entire careers. And then there's the question of Indiana Jones memorabilia, because obviously, Harrison Ford has kept something from the set, a bullwhip, a fedora, something that would be worth a fortune, something any sane person would treasure.
Have you kept bullwhip, haven't you? You've kept a hat, something that's worth $1 billion right now?
No. I don't keep any of this stuff. I don't want all that crap around my house.
Uh-huh.
I don't need all that. I'm a very rich man.
I don't want all that crap around my house. I'm a very rich man. He said crap. He called Indiana Jones memorabilia crap, and then followed it immediately with a line about being rich that would sound obnoxious from literally anyone else, but from Harrison Ford, it lands as the funniest, most honest sentence you've ever heard. Because he's not bragging, he's explaining. He doesn't need the memorabilia. He was there. He lived it. He doesn't need a souvenir. That level of detachment from his own legacy isn't arrogant. It's actually a form of clarity that most people, especially famous people, never achieve. There is a specific type of comedy that is almost impossible to execute. It requires perfect timing, total commitment, and an absolute refusal to telegraph the punchline. Most comedians work their entire careers trying to master it. Harrison Ford stumbled into it simply by being himself. It's called deadpan, and Harrison Ford is its undisputed king. The way it works is simple. You say the most absurd, savage, or brutally honest thing possible, and you say it with absolutely no change in expression, no shift in tone, no acknowledgement that what just came out of your mouth was extraordinary. You just say it and move on, and you let the world catch up.
The bullwhip in the original film belonged to the stunt coordinator and was made by David Morgan in Washington State. What was the color of the original whip's fall?
Who gives it?
Somebody spent time researching that question. Somebody thought Harrison Ford would be delighted to demonstrate his knowledge of his own franchise's production history, and Harrison Ford's response was to compress his entire relationship with Hollywood trivia into 3 words. Who gives a song? Not malicious, not rude, just honest. He genuinely does not know the color of the bullwhip's fall, and more importantly, he has no interest in pretending that he does. The performance of carrying the celebrity obligation to seem enthusiastic about your own franchise lore, he simply opted out. And then there was Donald Trump. At some point, Trump publicly declared himself a huge fan of Harrison Ford, specifically pointing to Air Force One as the reason. For those who don't know, Air Force One is the film where Harrison Ford plays the President of the United States and delivers the most iconic line of the movie.
Donald Trump said in the not too distant past how much a fan,
The beloved Donald Trump?
The beloved
that's
Donald
running
Trump.
for
President of the United
resident?
States of the America.
Oh, president?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was resident.
He said he was a fan of you, that he loved the way you stood up for America in Air Force One.
Get off my plane.
It's a movie.
And he liked, and he liked the way...
Donald. It was a movie. not like this in real life.
It's a movie. He couldn't even get to the second sentence without looking at the interviewer with the expression of a man explaining gravity to someone who just fell off a building. The idea that someone, anyone, needed to be told that a movie about a president fighting terrorists on Air Force One was fictional clearly troubled him on a fundamental level. And the delivery, flat, patient, slightly baffled, is what makes it. He doesn't mock. He doesn't pile on. He just states the reality and looks at you. That's the Harrison Ford deadpan at its purest.
When you first saw yourself as the Red Hulk, when they were finishing the VFX, what was your first reaction?
Well, I had no idea it was going to be red. It's not my color.
Oh, what color would you choose?
Green.
Oh, but it's already kind of taken right now.
I guess.
Green. He said it immediately. No hesitation. No laugh. Green. As if he'd thought about it. As if he has an opinion on what color his superhero form should be. And he just happened to share it. The joke is that he's completely serious. And because he's completely serious, it's funnier than any prepared punchline could ever be. This is the gift. This is what separates Harrison Ford from every other comedian in Hollywood, even the ones who are actually paid to be funny. He doesn't try to be funny. He just says what's true. And what's true, delivered by Harrison Ford with absolute commitment and zero decoration, is almost always hilarious. Beyond the one-liners, beyond the deadpan, there are moments where Harrison Ford doesn't even say a word, and he still manages to be the most entertaining person in the room. Take the broccoli joke.
So this guy's working in the produce department at the grocery store, and a lady walks up and she says, "Excuse me." He says, "Yes." She says, "Where's the broccoli? I can't find the broccoli." He said, "Oh, I'm really sorry, man." He says, "We ran out of broccoli. We'll have some tomorrow morning." And he goes back to his work and he's stacking the oranges, and he hears behind me, Mister. And he turns around and it's the same lady. She says, "Where's the broccoli?"
If you watch that clip carefully, what you're witnessing isn't just a man telling a joke. You're watching a man who has chosen to tell a very long, very specific joke in the middle of an interview and is committed to it completely, with no acknowledgement of whether the people around him are on board. He just starts talking. He tells the whole thing. He delivers the punchline with perfect timing, and then he moves on. The joke itself is good, but what's great is the total confidence of a man who decided he wanted to tell a joke right now, in this context, and simply did it. No apology, no setup warning. He just went. And then there's the David Blaine moment. Because nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared the internet for what happened when David Blaine attempted to do a close-up magic trick for Harrison Ford.
Think of any card in the deck. Great. Hold the deck. You're thinking of a card? Do I know what card you're thinking of? Your card just left the deck just now. Look through the deck, your card isn't there. Go ahead, look. Yeah, it's not there. You won't see.
Piece of someone's entire memorabilia collection.
Yeah, one of the pieces of memorabilia in my collection, in fact, the flagship piece, is a Lego Millennium Falcon that I put together in 2010. They're selling for about $5,000 now, and it took about 60 man-hours to create. And I display it with pride, but it would really mean the world to me if Harrison could sign it. Is that okay, Harrison?
Sure.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Wow. Now, it's very delicate.
A long time.
Yeah. So,
The fan presents it reverentially. He talks about what it means to him. He asks, very politely, if Harrison would sign it. Harrison says sure.
I know that stuff.
Shut. Oh my God. Oh, that's bad.
Now, here's what makes this moment legendary. It wasn't an accident. It was suggested. Someone, somewhere, thought it would be funny if Harrison destroyed it. And Harrison, a man with absolutely no attachment to the sentimental value of objects that are not his, looked at that idea and said, yes, that does sound funny.
You suggested that it would be funny
Yes.
if I destroyed it.
Yeah. Right. I will make it clear. And first of all, this is why you've never.
And you were right.
It was fun.
Yeah.
You were right, it was funny. No remorse, no checking to make sure the fan was okay. Not even a laugh, just a clean, simple acknowledgement that the hypothesis had been confirmed. It was funny. The experiment was a success. Moving on, this is a man who operates entirely on his own frequency, and somehow, rather than being insufferable, it is the most liberating thing to watch, because you realize this is what it looks like when someone is completely free of the need for other people's approval. He doesn't need you to think he's cool. He doesn't need the fan to think he's generous. He just did the funny thing and told you it was funny. And that's the transaction completed. There's one moment in the Harrison Ford archive that proved, beyond any doubt, that this man woke up one day and decided consequences were for other people. Someone asked Harrison Ford in what appears to be a genuine, unscripted moment to pierce their ear on camera.
I've asked Harrison Ford to pierce my ear. What's the worst thing that could happen to me? Could I get an infection?
Nah.
No.
You could bleed to death.
God.
You could bleed to death. Not, I'm not sure that's safe. Not, maybe we should have a professional do this. Just, you could bleed to death. Cool, let's go.
There's supposed to be 2 of us, but
Why are you doing it?
He did it. He actually did it. With what appears to be a needle and a topical anesthetic and the calm confidence of a man who has done far more dangerous things in far more exotic locations. He pierced a person's ear on camera. No medical training mentioned. No liability waiver discussed. Just Harrison Ford deciding that this was happening and then making it happen. And through the whole thing, he looks like he's checking his mail. That is the energy. That is the essence of Harrison Ford, the man who walks into every situation like he's already decided what's going to happen and is simply waiting for everyone else to figure out what he already knows. For much of his career, Harrison Ford's public persona has been defined by a very specific quality. He doesn't particularly need anyone. He's not unfriendly. He's not cold. He just doesn't perform warmth for the camera in the way that Hollywood expects of its stars. But Ryan Gosling broke through, and watching their dynamic is one of the most joyful things Hollywood has produced in years. Because what you're seeing is a genuine friend producers to pitch Ryan Gosling for a major role. He was enthusiastic, genuinely enthusiastic, and he could not remember the last name. Ryan Gosling. And the way Ryan tells it, and the way Harrison confirms it, what you're watching is 2 men who have found in each other the specific frequency of humor that usually takes decades of friendship to locate. Ryan can tease Harrison. Harrison will let Ryan tease him. And that mutual permission, that trust, is rarer between 2 people, let alone 2 men of wildly different generations who met on a film set.
Do you know who I used to be?
Do you know who I used to be? He said apparently, repeatedly, on set. Do you know who I used to be? Past tense. Not, do you know who I am? Past tense. As if the legend of Harrison Ford is a historical artifact that Ryan Gosling wasn't sufficiently acknowledging. It's self-aware, it's self-deprecating, and it's somehow more charming than anything a PR team could have scripted. On his foot, and his explanation, delivered with no apology whatsoever, is that the script was unclear.